Welcome to another edition of Morning Data, segment where I get to sit and chat with outstanding figures from all fields and all walks of life. And today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Raimund Royer, the first ever foreign Hanisa in Korea. Welcome to Morning Special. Thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting.
Absolutely. Can you briefly introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Yes, my name is Raimund Royer, and I'm originally from Austria, Europe. And as you already mentioned, I'm the first Western Hanisa licensed in Korea.
Unbelievable accomplishment.
Thank you.
And you've been in Korea for a very long time now. I asked you before we got started, 1987 you originally came.
Yes, exactly. 87, even before the Olympics, I was already here.
That's right.
So that's a long time now. It's almost 30 years.
Oh my goodness, 30 years, huh? You've seen so many changes in the country, I'm sure.
It's incredible how the country developed through the time.
How did you first make the decision to come to Korea back in 1987?
You can imagine that time it was different now, and Korea was not known yet to the Western countries actually. So for me, it was the Eastern philosophy, the Eastern kind of culture that was something what was always attracting. Yeah. So I decided I will go to Korea, to one of those countries in the East.
Okay.
And Korea was the choice for me because it was not known yet, so it was even more interesting.
Yeah, you're right. I think the 1988 Seoul Olympics put Korea on the map.
Exactly.
For many countries or many people around the world. But in 1987, that hadn't happened yet.
Yes.
So you came over with a sense of adventure then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was very young and I was interested what's going on in the world and especially here.
Now, were you always interested in Eastern medicine then?
Actually not. I didn't know even much about it. I heard there is some form of acupuncture treating people, but that was all. But when I came to Korea, I actually had a small accident. I sprained my ankle. And that time I was first introduced to Hanisa.
Okay.
Yeah, because for sprained ankles, supposedly getting acupuncture is the best way to treat it. And for me, I had the first experience getting needles in my body. And it was a very interesting experience because even though my ankle was injured, the needles were set not in my ankle, but in different other parts of my body. Yeah. And it worked. And that was the interesting part. I couldn't understand how it works. And I was fascinated by this kind of approach to the body.
So before that, did you know that you were going to be a doctor? Did you know that you wanted to become a doctor at some point?
Actually, no. I'm coming from economic field. But that experience, I would say, was even life-changing, I guess.
I would say so, yes. Now, in the West, Eastern medicine is considered an alternative form of medicine, right? Many Western doctors might say that it's an unrealistic approach to healing because in the West, doctors believe in medicine and taking pills and these types of things, but that's not necessarily the belief of Hanihak.
Yes.
So for you, what are your opinions on the appeals or the advantages of Eastern medicine versus Western medicine?
I mean, especially the Eastern medicine, I would call it very holistic. Yeah, the approach is very holistic and it's very natural. You try to understand the flow of the energy in the body and the harmonization between body and environment. So it's very holistic, and we use a lot of herbs for treating, natural products, which has shown that it has very little side effects. And it helps to harmonize and adjust the body system, the organ systems. So I think the biggest advantage is that it's very holistic.
And you don't have to worry about the side effects. So when you first became a Hanisa in Korea, and you had your patients come in, what was the original reaction, I wonder?
I mean, of course, many Korean patients were a little bit worried.
Sure.
Yeah, because seeing suddenly a foreigner. And some patients were like, oh my God, I can't speak English.
Okay.
Like this kind of...
Yeah, right. I need to go to a different place. Yeah.
But actually, once they get treatment from my side, and most of the patients were very satisfied. And it shows also that also a Western doctor or Westerner can do Hanihak. Yeah, they can do the same treatment as a Korean doctor.
What has changed in the field of Hanhiak since you started back in, well, when did you first achieve your license? When did you receive your license?
I received my license in 1999.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's now 70 years about.
That's a long time. Has anything changed in the Eastern medicine field then?
I would say there are a lot of changes. Yeah, of course we are changing into more scientific approach, even for honeyhack, because we see the trend, general international trend is to try to get the scientific support. You need bringing data in order to prove your treatments. And we're doing a lot of this kind of scientific work. So we're trying to do studies on different issues, of how the medicine works, what side effect it has, for instance. We do studies on how acupuncture works scientifically. So I think there's a lot of changes going on into the more scientific approach, and also more standardization. So that for certain problems, before we only had the way to do some pulse diagnostic, now we are trying to using more technical, more modern forms of diagnosis.
And people probably wouldn't think of technology when they think of honeyhack, but now the two fields are merging together.
And I think that's the future also from honeyhack. It has to be more integrative. And we are seeing those kind of approach more and more. Also the universities, the medical school for Oriental medicine, they are also doing more in this field nowadays.
We are going to listen to a song, and we are going to chat more about it. But Dr. Royer, you requested a song. Can you tell us what it is?
Yes, it's a song which was very long, one of my favorite songs. The title is My Way from Frank Sinatra. And it also, I feel it's very close to what I'm doing. I'm doing it my way.
Absolutely.
So it's a very special way I went. So I was very attracted by this song.
More chat with Dr. Raimund Royer after Frank Sinatra's My Way. Sing it, Dr. Royer.
I did it my way.
Do you like to go to the singing room sometimes?
Sometimes it's very stress relaxing, relieving.
It really is, yeah. Well, it's stressful for me.
Okay.
Depending on if you can sing or not. Continuing on now with Dr. Raimund Royer, who is the first foreign Hanisa here in Korea. And I mentioned when we started the show today that you brought a model with you this morning.
Yeah.
And these days, we just talked about stress. These days, with the weather getting colder and things like this, I think tension and stress in people, that's something that comes along with the colder weather and the winter season. So I was wondering, could we use the model where you could show us and give us some tips about stress release on the body?
Of course. Especially as I mentioned, the winter and the cold temperatures. I think we have to be very careful not to expose our body, especially certain parts of our body, because first of all, if you expose, for instance, the neck area on the back, or the upper back to cold wind, what happens is the muscles there get very tense.
Okay.
But not just that, also we see in honeyhack, we see those spots here in the neck and lower neck and upper back area very sensitive to cold wind, because you catch easily a cold.
Okay.
So it's not so much being exposed in the front from cold wind. It's more dangerous to be exposed in the neck and upper back. So if you're exposed, if you expose your neck, what happens? The muscle get very tense and tight, and of course it can extend to some headaches. So I would say for relieving those tension in the muscles, there are different ways to do it. Of course, you can get some massage, but today I will show you a very simple kind of approach which everybody can do at home.
Okay.
So, for instance, you use your hands. Your hands are related. Or there are meridians where the energy flows, and there are many points in the hands which can relieve tension, especially in the neck and shoulder.
Okay.
And the most common ones, and you can try. Maybe I show you on my hand.
Okay.
It's better. You have the thumb.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the thumb, and there are a very important point between the thumb and the digit finger.
Okay, so everybody, if you're listening, stretch out your hands and then look at the space between
The thumb and the next finger.
and the next finger. Oh, the soft spot?
Exactly. There's some spot going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other side is on the thumb side on the palm here.
Okay, on the thumb side of your palm.
Yeah, here on the edge of the thumb into the palm. If you press there, especially if you have a lot of tension or headache in the neck, shoulder, if you press there is one point which is very sensitive and painful.
I just found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is pressing this point together with the point here between on the back of the hand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called hapgok.
Ow!
Yeah. So if you press both together with the other hand,
Yeah.
if you squeeze them and massage them, circle a little bit,
Yeah.
so it feels very painful sometimes.
Right.
But at the same time, you feel some relaxation of the muscles in the neck, shoulder area, and even the headache can be released to a certain extent.
I see. I found it on my hands. Can we put the camera on me, please? So I'll show you the front. So am I doing it correctly, doctor?
Yes, you are doing correctly.
Okay, so you put your thumb on the soft, fleshy part on the top part of your hand, and then on the back side of your hand, on the fleshy part of your thumb,
Where you feel the pain.
and
You have-
pinch together.
Yeah, you pinch together.
And so it
Press
will
squeeze it.
it will hurt somewhere.
It would hurt somewhere. So
And
this
then you massage
you
it
massaged
then.
it. Yeah, and that's a very good point for relieving some tension and stress in the shoulder, neck area, and even the headache.
Thank you very much, doctor.
Yeah.
How much do I owe you? What's the bill?
I will send it to you.
Send it to EBS, not to me. Now, we see these days with K-pop and K-drama and Korean food spreading across the world. Do we see Korean medicine or Eastern medicine spreading to other parts of the world as well?
I think so. We see that other countries get more and more interested. Even in our hospital, we have doctors coming from other countries
Really?
to see what we are doing.
Really?
Because our hospital is very famous for spinal disease treatments, non-surgically, like disc herniation. So, and we have very specific treatments, very unique treatments, like motion style acupuncture. Sounds very interesting, isn't it? And tuner manipulation, and also herbal medicine that helps to regenerate the spinal tissues. So, doctors from other countries are actually very interested in this kind of approach.
So if other doctors are coming and they are interested in this approach, then that means that patients from other countries are interested in a different type of approach as well?
Of course. I mean, I'm working for the international clinic, so we see many patients coming from abroad in order just to get treatment, to get fixed the spinal problem, the back problems. And those patients are increasing.
Interesting. So it's not just, I guess medical tourism is not just for cosmetic purposes in Korea then.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just for cosmetic purposes, also for the traditional medicine. It's getting more and more into the focus of the world.
Really interesting. Well, doctor, we would love to have more time, but unfortunately we have run out of that time this morning. But I thank you so much for coming to Morning Special, and thank you for sharing the tips on how to relieve stress in the winter season. And congratulations to you. It's such an amazing achievement to be the first foreign hanisa here in the country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you for being our guest on Morning Day
Thank
today.
you.
Dr. Raimund Royer.